You're listening to Heart with Saima, the podcast show for people searching for that courageous person within us who wants to be inspired by listening to stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. I'm Saima Dillon, your host. Thank you so much for taking out a time out of your day to be here. Let's dive right in. My guest today is Krista Mollion. She's a seasoned Silicon Valley tech entrepreneur and the founder of the SASSY Method, a business blueprint program for new founders. Krista built one of the leading experiential marketing agencies in San Francisco, specializing in 3D and virtual reality, and worked with leading brands like Apple, HR, Samsung, Google, and Lennar Urban to launch new cutting edge products. AdAge called her agency Atmosphere Magicians. Krista sold her agency shares in 2017, and since then, she has been consulting small business owners and startups as an agent advisor, business mentor, and marketing coach. So, without waiting, we're going to bring Krista on in just a moment. Hey, Krista, welcome to Heart with Saima. I think it's very important for me to ask you how you're doing today.
I'm doing fine, but I'm in the French Alps and there's a lot of snow and I've had a lot of difficulties getting acclimated. My car broke down today and I had to take a very long walk. So all because it's too cold.
So what are you doing in the French Alps?
So I came here for the lockdown last year, simply to spend some time with my family. My dad is French and lived in Paris, and we've had this property in the French Alps for 50 years.
Wow.
And usually it's a ski rental. So we have several houses that we rent out.
Uh-huh.
And my dad said, well, you know, COVID is probably going to hit the United States. And I was like, nah, but he was right. So he said, why don't you come spend the lockdown here? We can hang out and you have internet, you can work wherever you want. And since everything was canceled, I said, yes. However, what happened was my dad ended up getting COVID-19 and passing away. So then I was here by myself with my toddler. And I have
sorry for your loss.
Thank you. I have 3 older kids who are in California with my ex-husband. So I didn't plan on being separated from them for very long.
Wow.
But things turned out that then I stayed here because we have a lot of things going on in our inheritance and my dad's estate. What I've learned from 2020 is that there's a lot of blessings in disguise because I can be very sad. Of course, I've gone through a lot of grief. My dad and I were very close. However, on the other hand, isn't it amazing that I got to see him one last time? I mean, usually I'm in California and I actually hadn't seen him for longer than usual. And so when he invited me, I really felt like I needed to see him.
Yeah.
And little did I know that those days would be precious, that I would get to spend some time with him. So I'm forever grateful that I came here. I think that was destiny. And, my heart goes out to a lot of other people who have seen COVID-19 up close and know that it's not a joke, it's not a fake, and who have actually had losses.
Yeah. Well, I feel, Krista, people who get an opportunity to spend time with their loved ones, especially with their parents, I think they're the most fortunate people in the world, because there is absolutely no relationship in the world like parents. They are the only people who love you selflessly as selfless as it is possible for people to be. It's the only relationship that you can turn around, that you can, you'll feel they're watching your back, um, as much as that's possible. And
Absolutely.
so I think, I think that's so fortunate that you got that time, especially the US lifestyle, right? I mean, people working, you're in San Francisco, and people working 40, 50, 60, 70 hours, 80 hours a week. You live to work versus working to live. And I think
Yeah.
that's really, especially with Europeans, right? Europeans just feel that Americans are just always working, working, working. So you were part of this corporate environment as well, and you left that world in 2017, and you became a freelancer, a person who was consulting, doing mentorship, kind of helping small businesses. So how about I hand over the screen to you, and tell us about, not let us, let you tell us about what you do.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So, most of us start off our career just hoping that we're going to get a good education and that's going to lead to a dream job, right? That's the plan. However, I think that now fresh graduates and young adults have a new option, and that is to become an entrepreneur. And when I graduated, when I left school, I thought I was going to make this amazing corporate career. So I was dead set on working for the top tech companies and really rising up into management. And what I realized during my early years in Silicon Valley, where I spent my career, is that I was a natural born entrepreneur. And I love working with teams. And I actually really like the corporate environment. So I know that's strange to say, but there's something exciting about working with people all building something together. And obviously with COVID and with remote work, I don't feel that same way. But I realized that I had something more. And what that more is vision. And when you work in a corporate environment, you're part of a peg in a wheel. And your job is to play your part, to keep the wheel moving. And I realized that I had so many more ideas that I wasn't going to be able to accomplish if I stayed in a corporate environment, because it would take me literally 20 years before anybody would ever let me express my ideas and be taken seriously. Now, that is not a ballpark statement. There's other companies and other industries where anybody can contribute. But honestly, that's what I felt when I was a young product manager in Silicon Valley. Is I felt like it would not ever be possible for me. It would take so long. So I ended up joining a startup, and I had two partners. And at that time, virtual reality was the new thing. And we actually built some really cool services for different industries. So we really designed this whole service package of 3D services. And at first, I actually worked only on the side. So on my lunch hour, I would go make calls, or I would work on my private computer. And eventually we started landing deals. And it took a few months, maybe like 9 months in, before I quit my job. And I quit my job when I knew 100% without a doubt that we were going to make money, that we were on the right track. And then I spent 12 years building that business, expanding it, growing it. And I'm very proud of what we accomplished. But then in 2017, it was time for me to move on. I had some personal issues. I got a divorce. I was going through a lot of soul searching. I also felt a little bit burnt out for the first time. And that's sad because I really loved my job. But at that time, I said it would be a disservice to everyone, not just me personally, but to the company, for me to have these feelings and not make a decision. So I took a sabbatical and then I ended up leaving. And so now what I've been doing since then is consulting. And what I really want to build is a business incubator for new entrepreneurs so that I can really help them through the early stages of starting up a company. Also just consulting them to know if they have what it takes, because entrepreneurship is not for everybody. It's very, very much, it requires a certain type of personality. And I don't think that it's a bad thing to realize early on, hey, I actually would be much better in a corporate environment or rising the ladder there versus being on my own. But it takes a little bit of self-awareness and asking the right questions to get that out of yourself. And I wish more people would do that before they start a business, because they would save themselves tons of heartbreak. And then in the end, they'll end up back in corporate, but they may have lost tons of money. They may have lost tons of time. So I would highly advise you meet with a coach. I've actually created on my YouTube channel a series of videos called Coffee with Coaches, where I interview different types of coaches just so that people can get a taste of them, because a lot of it's about the fit is a personality. And I ask them very specific questions, so you'll see the differences between them. So I highly advise you find a coach that offers you at least a 30-minute free call so that you can understand if you're a good fit with them. And then pick one and get a good consultation. If you're considering leaving your corporate job, you're just thinking about it, you're like, maybe I should start something on my own. Or, and if you're already in it, you need as much support as you can get. So join a group program, join a mastermind, have a full-time coach accompanying you throughout your journey, because it is lonely being an entrepreneur and it's hard. And I'm not saying career is not hard at all. The same thing, I think if you're in a career, in a corporate environment, I'm going to repeat the same thing. You should have a mentor, and you should also have a support group. Big companies now, they even have support groups based on your interests. Like they have a minority support group. They have like within the company, a women's support group. They have different ways of clubs, maybe you would say, to get people together so that you can just have as much support in your career or your business as possible.
So, but Krista, it's not that easy to find the right mentors, right? Because or the right coaches, because there is no shortage of coaches and mentors who are out there, especially right now with people having moved and working from the in-home environment. I do agree with you, and this is something that has hit me much later on in life. The importance of having coaches and mentors to be able to guide you. So my 19-year-old daughter, she is. We're getting ready to launch her podcast. So she's had a bit of a difficult journey, and there was a lot of turbulence. And she says that, the things that we experience, in 40s, where this midlife crisis hits you and you're like, oh my God, what the hell have I done? Where am I? So she says that hits them, this generation, it's hitting them while they are in their teens. And that is where it's hitting them, this realization of finding true purpose, doing what is authentic, doing what makes their soul soar and doing what makes them feel right, because they're not that generation that's just going to go out there and do things just for the heck of it. So her journey has been a bit difficult. She is launching her podcast because we felt that she needed a place where she could express. For me, my podcast is a soundboard. It's a place for me to not only meet amazing people, but meet these amazing people who come and I spend this hour with them. I feel enriching my own life. So learning from them, and I think that's exactly what her podcast is going to do for her, is not only give her the ability to be able to voice her journey, her feelings, put it out there, give hope to youth. I feel it's a very difficult time for youth. Youth is going through a lot of turbulence. So give voice to her feelings, help youth, and also help parents in that same process, because I know that it was a very difficult journey for me as well, as I watched my teenager go through turbulent years, not having answers, not understanding how to help, where to give her guidance, what the right guidance was. All this noise from family, from everyone around, do this, do that, just not understanding, not having the realization or the knowledge or the experience or even the wisdom to be able to guide her. So so hopefully her podcast will even help parents understand that they're not alone.
Uh, It's really difficult. Oh, I can't hear you.
I'm quiet. I can
Oh,
hear you.
okay, good. I think. Oh, okay. I see what's going on. I'm. Okay, you can hear me, right?
You are going a bit in and out. It must be your internet connection.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's probably my internet. I'm in the Alps, so I'll just wait a minute to make sure you're done speaking before I jump in. But I love what you're saying about your daughter. I have 3 teenagers. So 14, 16, and 18. And definitely this is such a turbulent time because the kids have gone through watching what happened in 2020 in the USA politically and in the society. And I think that our kids are much more tuned in to what's happening. So it almost reminds me of the historical years in the 1960s when there was this transition. There was a major transition from the 1950s, which was very much proper, conservative. And then suddenly the 1960s, it was like night and day, right? And I think this generation of our young adults are much more self-aware, much more seeking their purpose. And I think that's really beautiful because that's why I started coaching. The SASSY Method, it stands for Seriously Authentic, Smart, Self-Confident You. That's a mouthful, but it's an acronym. And the word sass in English has some negative intonations. It's someone who speaks a little bit too much their mind. But I see it as a self-confidence. And I think that if we can give everyone self-confidence, that's why women our age are suffering from imposter syndrome, right? Because we've been brought up to be a certain way. And then now we want to be ourselves. And there's a big conflict. It's like, will people accept me? Will people laugh at me? I'm on Clubhouse now, which I highly recommend if you have the iPhone. And if you're on Android, they're already announcing that they're working hard on getting an Android version. So very soon you'll be on there. On Clubhouse, I was on a discussion exactly about people afraid to put out content on social media, like on LinkedIn or other places. They don't know what to talk about. They're afraid. And the real reason is because they don't want to make a fool of themselves. That's what people were saying in the conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, if you have the self-confidence, you stop caring about what other people think, and you start worrying about living with your own beliefs. So if I can sleep at night and I'm happy and I don't feel guilty that I hurt someone, that's good enough. But does everyone have to agree with me? Does everyone have to like you? No, absolutely not. The self-confidence means that the only person you seek approval from is yourself. Right?
I know,
And your
absolutely.
partners, your relationships, if you have a life partner, a spouse, those people, your parents, all those people have to love you unconditionally with all your flaws. They might not like your decisions and they might not agree with everything, but that doesn't change the love that they have for you.
So, Krista, do
right.
you feel love should be unconditional?
No, I actually don't. In fact, I wrote about this. I write a lot about love on medium.com, which is kind of my blog. I do believe that to love someone, it's your duty to ask them to be the best they can be. Not the best you want them to be, not the best as you see the version of them, but that they are consistently and without fail giving it their best to be true to who they really are. And if I see any of my kids doing that, or I see my partner, or I see people I love not doing that, I will step in and I will say, I know you're worth more. I know that this is not who you are. I know that you wanted that, but you didn't go for it because you're afraid, and you deserve it. So it's not about putting the idea in their head, you need to do X, Y, Z. It's about encouraging them to go past let me put it this way. Every good thing in life comes through fear. You have to go through this needle of fear. And on the other side is all the good stuff that you want in your life. So many people think somehow fear is a bad thing. Oh no, as soon as they feel fear, they stop doing that. Keep going. So if you see a loved one and they keep not doing what they want to really do, you have to go in there and you say, I believe in you.
Yeah.
That's your job. It's not your job to put the idea in their head or direct them. It's your idea. It's just for you to love them. So there is a condition. I don't want to love someone who's laying on the couch in self-pity, gaining weight and crying all day, and not trying to get up and do something with their life. Whether it's my kid, my parent, my husband, anybody who's not like taking care of their basic health, if I love them, I'm not going to stand by and watch them do that. Yeah. I'm going to intervene. So when you say, if my love is unconditional, love should be support is unconditional and loyalty should be unconditional. But I have conditions.
I think I touched a sore spot.
Yeah.
So that is true. I think coming from the Asian culture, that Southeast Asian culture that I come from, and getting that support as parents, I think another reason for that question, it's as parents, it is important for you to love your child, be their guide, but not expect your child to fall within the framework of life that you visualize for them.
Amen. And I, by the way, I think that coming from a European American culture, I think we have it a lot easier than the Asian culture, because the Asian culture, there's a lot more identity of the self is fused with the community. So you are not alone. You are part of your parents. You are part of your society. So it's almost like your duty to make them proud. Yeah. And they raised you. They put all their energy into making sure you had a roof over your head, making sure you had the school clothes you needed, putting you through school. And then you go and you lay on the couch, right? I mean, so in a way, I understand that culture. Whereas in the European American culture, it's more like, be whatever you want to be. And then people get really sad because they don't get that love and attention from their bosses, from their colleagues. They're like, what's wrong with me? I'm supposed to be what I want to be. And so there's different problematics in the different cultures. But ultimately, we have to find the best in both of them, right? We have to find how to realize ourselves and our purpose, ideally while making a good living. And here's where I think the Asian culture maybe has a limitation. I believe you can make a good living with almost anything you want if you're good enough and if you're willing to put the work in. So I don't think that you have to stereotype these very narrow career and be like, if you do these 5 professions, you will be successful. Everything else is just hobby, right? I see that a lot. And I think that that's makes people very unhappy because they're trying to fit into a box and that's not who they are. So instead, I think we have to teach young people like your daughter and my sons, we have to teach them how to be more resourceful in building a brand. So similar to what I do in my business coaching is, can I take my center of interest and can I create a community around it? Like with podcasting or now on Clubhouse, there's possibilities to create communities. On Facebook, we can create communities, but young people are not on Facebook. My point being is that you can take whatever you have and you can really go into it in depth, and monetization opportunities will follow 100%. If you become known for what you do, you will get noticed, you will grow a following, and sooner or later, there will be opportunities knocking on your door. 100% in anything. So when someone says, well, you have to do these 5 professions, I'm going to say that I've seen YouTubers, yes, YouTubers who are making more money than you can ever dream of. This is not the rule. But my point is passion. If you're passionate enough for anything, go for it. And don't worry at the beginning. Don't worry about it. Just do as much as you want and get yourself out there. And then once you've got your community going, there will be different opportunities that you can pursue. So in a way, our kids are much luckier than we were because now they have all these internet things that we didn't have growing up. So they can go after their dreams and on a much bigger scale than we didn't have those opportunities.
Because we were in those boxes where it was like, okay, you know what, you either become this, you become that, which goes for the masses. I still come from that culture where the onus of was not on the women, because there's still that arranged marriage system where it's like, okay, you know what, the families is there a match between the families? Is there a match of expectations? This is the demands. Okay, this is the kind of boy we are looking for, or this is the kind of girl we are looking for. So that system is still there, and unfortunately a lot of unrealistic expectations and BS comes from it too, because a lot of these men who are looking for them. Oh, hi.
She's gonna say hi real quick.
Hi.
This is Ivy. Ivy's 3. You say hi?
Nice to meet you, Ivy.
All right. She likes to be on the show.
So a lot of these men, they're like, okay, who have jobs, they're like, okay, telling their families, okay, I'm ready to get married, you can find someone for me. Can you look for a physician? So can you look for an engineer? Can you look for unfortunately there's a lot of ridiculous stuff there. there are a lot of ridiculous people out there, because what happens then is you're starting your relationships on this foundation of expectations, which are just, it's just the wrong start to a relationship.
I wrote an article about this, and I see there's three ways to know if it's the right person for you. So it's exactly the first phase is just the two of you. You have to have this amazing friendship, intimacy, connection, because that person must be your best friend. So that's something that's very important, because when you meet someone, chemistry can come and go. Chemistry will die over time. What stays is that beautiful, beautiful foundation of this friendship. So you know when you have that with someone and you feel like, I could tell this person anything. I feel so comfortable and so trusting of this person. And the same with them. If you see them not telling you things, then I would be skeptical. And once you've got that beautiful connection, then you look at who do they spend the most of their time with? And this is important, because you have to understand that if I'm going to be with this person, it may mean that I'm going to have to spend time with those people as well, right? And the people they've chosen tells a lot about them, right? They're friends. You're like, why would they choose these people? Are these people who I can see myself spending time with? And the third thing is the family. If in the Asian culture, it's probably the opposite way around. It's first the family, then the friends. In a European, Western society, it would first be the friends, because the family, you might see them once a week, once a month, once a year, whereas the friends, you're going to see them all the time, So in Asia, it might be the opposite. It's the family you would see all the time. But regardless, I do believe that that's a problem. I do believe that you can like someone, but if long-term, if you're going to spend 50 years of marriage, and for at least 20 of those years, you're going to hate your mother-in-law, and your mother-in-law hates you, and you're never good enough. The food you cook isn't salted the right way. And you know, everything, the way you set the table is wrong. And everything, the mother-in-law is like, hate, hate, hate. I mean, seriously, I don't know what to say. Keep looking.
Have you heard that the joke that when the parents couldn't handle their son anymore, they just got the son married so they could just shift the responsibility to someone else. Someone else can take over.
No, it's crazy, but honestly, it's so like in life, it's so important who we spend our time with, because everything around you is energy. And I truly believe that that's one of the secrets to success that people don't talk enough about. Energy. And either you are giving off positive energy, and when you do that, you would automatically attract more back, right? Or you're carrying around this negative energy, and this negative energy was given to you by someone, so you took it, and then you're carrying it around, and then you don't understand why things aren't going wrong in your life. You're like, I don't know, I don't have any patience, and everything seems negative. It's all because this invisible energy came to you. So that's why it's important to surround yourself with people who uplift you. So your partner should be your best friend. You laugh with that person. You love that person. You truly feel like, I can tell them whatever is on my heart. Your best friends, your boss. I do believe there is very important to have a good relationship. It doesn't have to be an intimate relationship, right? You don't tell your boss everything, but it's all about that energy, right?
Someone who wants the best for you.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we have to, but we have to kind of be very self-aware of the energy that we're giving off. And sometimes, for example, I'll have a disagreement with someone, and then I'll get in my car and I'll go somewhere else, and then I'll yell at my kid. And I know this is a direct a direct result of the earlier, even though it's been several hours, I've kept that energy inside. I disagree. Maybe it was someone at work and I was disagreeing on some work thing, but it really got to me. I'm like very passionate. No, this is very important. And then I carry it, and then I come home and I yell at my kid, or I'm mean with my spouse or something, So it's very important not to to release that energy, and I think that's one of the things coaching helps with, because when I was before I left my corporate job, I would carry so much intensity home. I mean, I would go to the gym, I would do yoga, I drink a lot of wine. I mean, everything to just try to get it out of me, And but I didn't have that awareness what it was. And then we wonder why people are stressed and burn out. And it's because you gotta find ways of recognizing, okay, this person was toxic to me right now. But I'm not going to let it in. So it's almost like you create a force field around yourself, and you're like, this is my protective bubble. And I'm very aware that energy that person just gave, it probably has nothing to do with you. Like I said earlier, when I yell at my kid or my spouse, it's because I was angry about something at work. So so people go around doing this all day long without even realizing it. So they take it out on the next person who they see.
And we all tend to do that, right?
Right.
But
so we have to stop. We have to stop that. And we have to apologize, by the way. So when you start becoming self-aware of your energy that you give out, you'll also see other people's energy. And if you see someone who's constantly grumpy and rude, they're probably deeply unhappy in their life.
Yeah.
So instead of feeling, I'm going to show that person for being so rude, instead try thinking from a place of empathy and compassion and saying, I have no idea what's going on, but this person seems to be hurting because they're acting so mean to everyone. And mostly, hurt people hurt people. So if this person's going around being rude, it's because something inside of them is broken, right?
So how do you react?
So
how do you help, especially your loved ones and people that you are near and dear to you, who might hurt you, who might be rude to you? What should you do?
It takes some time to learn what to do, because what you want to do is what I call the heart connection. So everything comes up here. Oh, he said something to me and I'm so angry, or she did this and I told her not to do that. And so we're thinking with our heads, and the anger is actually from our head. So go down to your heart and take a step back. So always take a little bit of a break between your feelings and try to master your own emotions so that you can react from a place of your heart when you deal with people. And when you react from a place of your heart, you set clear boundaries. So you say to them, I want to talk to you about what happened earlier today. It really hurt me, and I just want you to know that. I don't know if you meant to or if you realized, but it really did hurt me. I don't want to keep that inside me, so I'm letting you know. And maybe they will tell you, wow, I really had no idea. I didn't even think about it. I've been very stressed lately and I just reacted to you. Maybe it's a teenager and they'll say, Mom, my feelings are all over the place. I'm going to be mean to you all the time because I can't control my feelings yet, right? Or like I said earlier, maybe it's your husband and he'll say, I'm really sorry because I had a bad day at work. And it's true that I've been very tense and I didn't mean to take it out on you. But whatever it is, you get closure and then the energy is good again, right? And I also touch people. So not everyone, now with COVID, but with your family members, you can touch people, So I take people's hands and I look them in the eye. Like if I would talk to my ex-mother-in-law, who is a lovely woman, I would take her hands and I would look her in the eye and I would say, Mama, everything's okay. Everything's okay. You know, calm down. Like, don't freak out on me. And so these things, you learn it because it comes from your heart. And whenever you do from your heart will be twice as better. And everything you do around you, then suddenly the energy will change. And you'll see that everything will, it's all about keeping your inner peace. So this force field around yourself, you'll be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Only good vibes in this house. Only good vibes in my office. Only good vibes in my client relation. And you know as well as I do that we cannot control other people. You might come into a client meeting and you have a couple and the wife is very rude. She seems to be looking for conflict, you know? You have to remember your inner peace. You have to keep your smile and you have to say, nobody can touch my good attitude. Nobody, even the rudest person today, because I have this force field around me, this protection, you know? And you will remember what I said about compassion, that this woman is maybe very, very unhappy. You know, it's funny because I'll just tell you a really quick story because I know I'm rambling. Today at lunch, I actually went to have lunch at this woman's house, and she afterwards we went down and there's a parking lot, and she had just bought this beautiful white BMW, sorry, very new car, and she was going to drive me somewhere because my car, you know, today I've had bad problem. So she brought me to the garage and then I had to walk from the garage because I was not going to bother her again. But anyway, so when we got into her car, you know what she said to me? Next to her car was parked an Audi A4. And she said to me, "Oh, how I wish I had that car." You see? And this car, she has only 2 months, this new BMW. And so what I want you to understand is that because I'm so self-aware of me and other people, I saw right away, I said, this is a person who is struggling with cup half empty, looking at the neighbors. They have a nicer thing. They have this and I don't have this. So if you come from a place of compassion in the heart, everything gets better for you. You'll have a better attitude. You'll have more gratitude. You'll be able to handle haters better. And most importantly, you'll be able to handle the people you love better. You'll be able to forgive them. You'll be able to be kinder. You'll be able to ask for forgiveness when you yell at them because you're stressed, right? So controlling your energy is probably my biggest takeaway for your audience, because I just don't think we talk about that enough. And it's so helpful.
Well, I think everyone needs to work on their energy, right? Because at the end of the day, even people who are who post on Facebook and they're talking about being hurt by others, because we are all hurt, we all get hurt by our loved ones, and of course, you know, other people don't matter anyways, but it's your loved ones which penetrate through even that force that you might have built around you, because they're the only ones who have the power to do that. How do you build that fortitude, that courage, that you know, around you? How do you strengthen your energy so that instead of being afflicted by what is sent your way, you reverse and you send out so much positive energy their way that you change how they're perceiving, or how whatever it is that's bothering them?
I think that is key, because I was watching, do you know Joe Dispenza? He's a well-known meditation coach. And I was watching an interview he gave, and the topic was what is real love, right? And what he said is, he said, the most beautiful love is when one being is completely whole. they feel completely whole as a human, and they meet with another human being who feels completely whole as a human, and they don't have to take anything from each other because I'm whole and you're whole. And together we're just wow, like amazing, right? In reality, that is the divine goal, right? When we talk about purpose of life, is to feel whole, right? But in reality, all of us are kind of on that journey. So we're filled with doubt. We're human. We get angry. We have tempers. We say things we don't mean. We get stressed about things. So we're imperfect. So what I suggest is brutal honesty with yourself and with your loved ones. First and foremost, self-awareness will help you realize what's going on. And believe me, I did not operate in a place of self-awareness for a lot of my life. My life was outward bound. It was like, expectations and meetings, and I just did not go there. And now I only operate from a place of my heart. So I see everything much clearer. I can see the relationship. I can see the energy. Sometimes I see people coming and I'm like, turn around, go back out and scream, whatever. But I can tell you're holding some crazy anger or something, like, and then come back in when your, energy is better. So if you're brutally honest with yourself about what you're feeling, and remember, feelings have no logic, right? So you can be hurt by something and you'll tell yourself, I don't want to be hurt by it, but you are, right? Are you okay, Ivy? Hold on, I'm coming. I have a toddler. Hold on 1 second.
Absolutely. I think what matters in life is when you make decisions, when you do things from the heart, it changes. It changes everything. When you do something from your heart, it's a place of joy. It's a place of purity. It's a place of um, love. When you do something from your heart and from a place of love, you you give out great, beautiful, pure energy. And when you give out beautiful, pure energy, that is exactly what comes back. I feel that what you give out in life is what comes back to you. So you have to. I think forever. I mean, we have to focus on what we are giving out, because what we give out is what comes back. So if you feel something wrong is coming towards you, perhaps that's an indication that you should look at yourself, and you should see if you need some tuning within you. I mean, one of my guests taught me something really wonderful, and they said that he said that this was Mike who said this. If you look at your children, and if you see that your children are out of balance and they are doing something which doesn't seem right to you, it's time for you to go and look at yourself in the mirror and see what's going on in your life, because they are directly connected to you. And the way they are behaving or reacting has to do with what might be going on in your life or how you're behaving, because they're directly connected to you. And my daughter said, my 16-year-old daughter, a few days ago, she said, I've gone through a lot of fluctuations in this past decade, Krista. And I was saying something to my 16-year-old, and my 16-year-old said something which it was one of those aha moments that I think I will take with me keep it close to my heart for the rest of my life. And she said, Mom, don't worry about us. Just focus on yourself, because as long as you're in balance, we will stay fine. But when we see you getting off balance, that's when we start getting off balance.
You have a very smart daughter. That's so true. And what I said, like, about the energy, right? Giving out, taking, transmitting. Think about the energy in the house if there's 4 people in the house, right? Or more. I don't know. And so it's very important that everyone finds a way to recognize their energy and say, when I enter the house, before I come in the house, before I come in the door, I'm going to let out a big, deep breath, because my home is my sanctuary. My home is where I'm safe, I'm calm, I have my peace of mind, and it's only filled with love. So, literally you can tell your kids, take the bad energy outside. And when you have a better attitude, you come back. So do what you have to do, go jog, go meditate, do something, but come back when the energy is better. Because when you become aware of that energy and you become tuned in with that energy, you're absolutely right that then you're going to see how much your energy is influencing them, right? That doesn't mean that it's 100%, because they're coming in with all their own problems, right? They might have had a bad day at school. Now there's boyfriends and girlfriends and like friend issues, drama. And sometimes I also feel that teenagers are particularly stressed now. They have a lot of pressure on them, right? And so they're overthinking so much in their lives. I feel they have more pressure on them in a different way than we did.
Yeah.
And because there's too much choice, too much information, and it can just be really overwhelming.
And one thing, Krista, I've also noticed with these teenagers is that they don't have value for relationships. I know that for me, my friends mean the world to me, and relationships matter to me, and I will bend over backwards for the people that I love. And but I feel that in this new generation, it's just I see kids who are hurt all the time because of how they've been treated by their friends, or friends walking out. I mean, it's so easy for these people to break relationships and just walk away and find new friends, and it's a continuous cycle, because they're just never satisfied, and they keep breaking relationships and they keep moving forward, because relationships, they do require a lot of hard work.
That's kind of scary, because you wonder in their adult life if that pattern will continue. And a lot of it, I believe, has to do with the speed of things. So everything now is instant for these kids, right? So they have very short attention spans, and they have no patience, absolutely no patience.
Instant gratification for everything.
Right. So the same goes for relationships. And it's, I think that having like honest conversations with your kids, having family meetings, where you really open up about things, and it will really help as well, because if you can talk to them more, you can guide them and help them learn to resolve conflict. And resolving conflict requires patience. They need to take more time and effort to do it versus walking away. And definitely, avoidance is never a good thing. Like, kids need to learn how to walk back to someone and say, what you did really hurt me, and I'm upset, and I want to talk to you about it. And having those conversations, because if they don't learn that now, how are they going to do that at work?
That is something even I'm learning. And that is actually what you just said. That is something my 19-year-old has been teaching me, because she says, Mom, throughout your life, you have always just like walked away, and you just kept it all inside. And that's just not the way to do it. You have to sit there, you have to talk, you have to talk to people who might hurt you. You have to have that exchange where you let them know, because sometimes they might not, like I might not even realize that I've hurt someone, or that maybe I said something and the other person perceived it like I'm talking about them, but I might not be. I might be here completely in my own world, taking care of my own stuff, completely oblivious to what someone else, how someone else might have interpreted my words.
It getting closure shows that you value the person. So walking away, letting things blow off, thinking I'll deal with it later, all it does is it creates unresolved resentment and energy, and also just worry, because maybe later either you'll feel guilty because you feel, oh, I wonder if I mistreated them. Maybe I was too harsh. Maybe I didn't do this right. Or why didn't they call me back? Do they not like me? Did I say something wrong? So instead of just so as a coach, 9 out of 10 times my clients come with these hamster thoughts, they're like, I need to talk to you. I've been thinking a lot about this. And I'm like, I can tell you've been thinking way too much about this one thing, instead of just going and asking the person, what is holding you back from getting closure? Ask for feedback. If you want to advance your career, if you want to sell more to clients, ask them for feedback. So say, hey, I just really would love to pick your brain or talk to you for a few minutes, because I want to know, what do you think about what I'm doing right now? And
So be
try to
open to
ask.
criticism.
Yeah, be open. And that's another thing. Why are we so afraid of conflict? Why are we so afraid of hearing the truth? So if I say, for me, I felt like you talk way too fast. Let me just say something like that, right? It's not true for you, but I'm just making it up. I find that you talk way too fast, and it's really hard to follow you. Your first reaction may be to feel horrible. Oh my goodness, do I really talk? And then you feel or be angry. What are you talking about? I don't talk too fast. So the two things we just displayed is insecurity, right? Oh, or anger. It's your ego, right? And so we have to master ourselves, and we're on a journey of personal development, and we're only human. I try really hard to master all these issues. Once in a while it comes out. Suddenly I feel jealousy for a person. I'm like, I never get jealous of anybody. Why am I feeling jealous? And then I explore that, and I talk to my coach about it. And I feel maybe I'm letting myself get too much work. I need to cut back because I'm feeling anxious, and that caused me to feel jealous. You see? So it's very important for you to get closure on all situations so you can work on yourself. It's all for your own good. And also be willing to accept it. So don't be afraid of criticism. Criticism helps you grow. Why do you want a mentor? If they're going to tell you the truth and you can't handle the truth, I had a woman, she was trying so hard to do this job, and her goal was to get into a higher position. The problem was that I could tell that she hated this job, because she always talked about how she hated it, but she didn't even realize it because she had no self-awareness. So here she was like, I need to get this. I've made a plan so that I get, promoted, and I want to be up here in 5 years. Right. And so I have to jump one position, then I'll do this training, then I'll stay there 2 years. She really had this path she was on. But all day long, all she talked about was how she hated this job. She started calling in sick. She started trying to even outsource some of her tasks. That's how bad it was. And I'm like, so you're asking other people to help you to do your job better because you don't feel like doing this job, and you want to be promoted. This is your career path. There's a disconnect between what your heart is telling you and what you've decided, I don't know when, 10 years ago when you were a child or whatever. And the reality is you need to wake up, right? So if you wake up and you tell her this, I have a choice. Either I can tell her what I'm seeing, and I can say, I can prove to you that you've said several things that indicate that you don't like your job. And I believe that we should talk about a different career path. I don't think this 5-year plan is going to work. I think that you have to be honest with yourself that this isn't what you really want.
And I
Or I
think
could just say, oh, you're doing great. Woo-hoo. So there's two types
life
of
should be
coaching.
about self-reflection, right? I
Right.
mean, I think so much of it has to do with us being aware of our own feelings and being aware of what's going on inside us. And like you said, if we are feeling different emotions, hatred or jealousy or whatever emotions we are feeling within us, we need to figure out where those emotions are coming from and pinpoint so that we can fix it, because at the end of the day these emotions are going to hurt, not only going to send bad vibes towards the person that you're feeling these emotions towards, but they're going to ricochet back and they're going to hurt you, and they're going to impact you and your soul internally as well. But on that note, Krista, we are the hour is over, and as much as I'm enjoying this conversation, and we have people watching, but I think we might have to just bring you back for an episode 2 of what exactly Sassy is all about. So how about I let you just give you a moment to just
Yeah.
conclude.
Well, I will conclude by saying thank you very much. First, for inviting me. I'm honored to be here. And second, for accommodating my crazy day and my scheduling. And third, I love this conversation. And I'm trying to be more active now on Clubhouse so that I can create rooms around such topics. And these rooms are like what we're doing now. They're live, but more people from the audience can come on stage and join in, ask questions. So you don't have to read the comments out in the chat like you do on a live. You can give the person the mic and they can hop on, ask their question. So anyone who's watching this, definitely 2 things I will leave you with is, number 1, your inner peace is priceless in your life. If you think of anything, think about finding your inner peace and making that one of your New Year's goals. It's not too late. It's only January 26th. So we've got the whole year ahead of us to find that inner peace, right? All the anxiety, stress, whatever, just find that inner peace. And if you need help, I'm always here for everyone. So I love to get to know my network, just like we're doing right now. And you can reach me, so at kristamollion.com. On LinkedIn is where I really hang out a lot. So LinkedIn is my thing. And now I'm going to be on Clubhouse. So just look me up anywhere with my name and message me. I'm really approachable. I love to talk to people, as you can see.
Well, Krista, thank you. It was an honor and a privilege to interact and to have you on my show. I'm going to remove you from the stream so I can end it. Thank you for being here. So, friends, once again, thank you so much for carving out the time to hear what was shared on today's podcast. If this inspired you to take the next step in your journey, then I want to invite you to join my email list by emailing vip@saimadillon.com. And of course, if you know this podcast episode will help someone else, then help me change lives. Just take 30 seconds to simply share the link to this podcast in a text or share the post on social media, and I'll be so grateful. I meet so many of you, and you come up and you message me, you private message me, and you tell me how the show helps you, how it's helping change your life. I would love for you to just comment. Just take 1 second, just like it, just share it, just say anything, because that it matters. It shows me that, hey, you know what, I'm doing something right, and I'm doing something that's helping you. So thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time.